Good evening, Dr. Gosson. I think if you see the video, it will be during the day, so good morning or good afternoon. Um, so I wrote my paper on Iranian-Israeli relations during the Cold War, and I gave it a very catchy name. I think pragmatic interdependence uh, between Iran and Israel uh, during the Cold War, and I chose the title because looking into various works that have dedicated themselves to um, this topic, it very quickly becomes evident that there's indeed some or a considerable degree of pragmatism um, uh, in regards to um, you know events and objectives um, on both sides, on both Iranian and Israeli um, um, sides, and um, in terms of motivation, I can actually separate it into three different layers. So my primary motivation was of personal nature, you could say, because my parents are originally from Iran, and I was born in Iran. I've never lived there, obviously, but um, I had the privilege, you could say, of hearing a lot of um, stories, especially about pre-revolutionary Iran, about the time of the Pahlavi dynasty, etc. And to me, um, it's still astonishing how quickly Iran's face changed um, after the revolution. And since the nature of the essay is a comparative one, it's supposed to be a comparative um, analysis. I thought that I should take into consideration the relation or the relationship that has suffered the most from, or apparently has suffered the most from this event, from the revolution, and that is the relation to relations to Israel. Um, and that actually brings me to the second layer of, my motivation, and that was the Cold War. Um, I think that we've been giving too much credit and too much focus to this geopolitical, you know, um, play between the United States and the Soviet Union, but oftentimes forget that there are a lot of micro aggressions and micro conflicts going on, or were going on during the Cold War, and the hottest area was, of course, the Middle East, and the Middle East at that time, particularly during the 50s, 60s, 70s, um, um, the Middle East was uh, primarily shaped by um, Iran and Israel. You could argue Arab states, of course, as well, but Iran had enormous influence on both um, Israeli decision making and decision making of Arab states. But most conflicts surrounded, um, or they were surrounded around Israel, and I thought that that is a very um, good path to go, and that brings me to the third layer, because and that is more in connection to the current state of Iranian-Israeli relations, which of course seem hostile, very hostile. But when you look into the situation, especially after the revolution and during the Iran-Iraq war, you see that there was a significant um, interdependence. That is why I chose the title. Between there was a clear necessity for both states, although there was a clear, uh, harsh rhetoric on the Iranian side towards Israel. There was a clear necessity to maintain a healthy relationship, to maintain, in secret, obviously, because on the one hand, Israel saw in Iraq the last standing, fortress, you could say, of the Arab threat, and on the other hand, the Iranians, they saw in Israel an opportunity to survive, to survive the post-revolutionary chaos, and they had also issues, strategic issues with the Arab states because of the ideological um, narrative that the mullahs in Iran were pursuing. So the research that I did within the scope of this paper was very revealing because I suspected some of the things I wrote about, and we talked about them, that there were several inconsistencies, both pre-revolutionary and post-revolutionary. But the research, broadened my horizon even, and made clear that geopolitics does not know rhetoric, does not know ideology. It's very pragmatic, and I think that the example of Iranian-Israeli relations was extremely suitable because it is just a perfect sample of how geopolitics, geopolitics is driven by opportunistic and pragmatic means. So I hope that the paper will equally, broaden your mind and broaden your horizon. And I certainly hope that you like it. And I also certainly hope that you like this video.